Welcome back to the IDP Lounge. And tonight we have a beautiful lineup of some excellent IDP experts. Yes, that's right. Experts. I said it. I like to call this episode the IDP Delight. Some might think of it reminiscent of Rapper's Delight, but I think I'm going with Afternoon Delight. Afternoon Delight.
There you go.
Yeah. Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight.
All right, so to my left, actually, we'll start with my co-host over here, all the way in the corner, is the always aggressive and abrasive Hollywood. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
I am living the life, sir. Right next to him, we have Mike Woellert, Mike_Woellert. How you doing, my friend?
Smooth
Good.
Jazz.
Good.
Jazz.
Team
Smooth
_
Jazz. Joining also team underscores below me, John Macri at PFF_Macri. How you doing, Mr. Macri?
I am pretty good, gentlemen. How are you?
Very good. And we have our good friend right next to Macri over here, Z-Mags, at Z-Mags IDP, our new special co-host for the evening, filling in for Boss Man Nate. Thank you once again, Zach. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. Just had a good day with the kids and starting to wind down. So got an opportunity to jump in here with you guys. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So we're going to shoot some shit today about some camp battles. And we're lucky to have Mr. Green Dot himself. You know, everybody likes the Green Lantern. Mike is the Green Dot. Sounds like a really crappy superhero name, but he knows everybody who is calling the plays on defense.
That movie treatment would not get the go green light in Hollywood.
It'd get the Ant-Man treatment. It's like Ant-Man's wicked cool if you actually watch it, but everyone's like, it's freaking Ant-Man. Like,
dude, Ant-Man. Ant-Man is so good, and it gets crapped on. It's really a fun movie.
And Paul Rudd does so good. He does so good.
I love Paul Rudd. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done nothing to nobody. He just doesn't age.
Right. What was that, Zach?
He looks like the same he did when he was in Friends. I said Paul Rudd is good at everything he does, and then I said he looks the same as he did in Friends.
Yeah,
well,
it's like in Clueless.
He's Clueless. Jesus, it's right. Wet Hot American Summer. That's one of my favorites.
What's the movie where he played the stoner brother? Oh my God, what's the name of that movie?
My Idiot Brother.
Yes. I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
You guys ever see Wanderlust?
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Him and Jennifer Aniston.
Mm-hmm.
Hey yo.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one.
So let me ask you a question, Mike, Mr. Green Dot.
Yep.
What have you found? Is there anybody you've seen that's intriguing wearing the green dot so far?
Well, the one I just found out was Cincinnati. Logan Wilson apparently was bestowed the dot upon him from the locker room. So
really?
Apparently the locker room is going to pretty much entrust him. Have already entrusted him to call the plays, and apparently he's had a really good camp. Very vocal, very vocal, knows the playbook, ready to go. So that one was I just found out not too long ago. So Logan Wilson sounds like he will be calling the plays for the Bengals.
Well, so that's great to know because we actually
took my advice and picked him up when I told him.
We actually had a listener that asked a question about the Bengals cluster of a linebacker group, and
Logan Wilson is
that pretty much answers it right there.
Yeah, Logan Wilson is the guy. Pratt is actually having from all accounts a decent camp. I think he's a guy that's kind of like this is your like last chance. This is it. So, I mean, if you wanted, he was probably someone to target maybe in like late end of rounds if you're just rounding out a roster. But yeah, I think all of us on this group have probably written up or have talked about Logan Wilson. I know he made my breakouts. Mags, I think we've all wrote about him or talked about him as that potential second year breakout. I love all the second year linebackers. unfortunately got drafted in a pandemic year, so they didn't have that formal offseason. So they're all getting the offseason, and a lot of them are playing really well. And I know it's just shorts and they've just hit the pads, but yeah, that was definitely a good read. I was glad I stumbled upon that.
The cool news about that is that all of these second-year linebackers are now values. If you're doing a startup, it's fantastic. Like Logan Wilson, you can get him crap as your like LB5 right now because nobody knows what's going on in Cincy.
Yep.
Until now.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess, right? Like last year, who was it? It was Josh Bynes, right? Josh Bynes was their main linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was Bynes.
And Pratt, right? And both of them played 16 games, but they were kind of useless, right? So they need somebody that could be effective and actually make plays. And I mean, Logan Wilson did that at Wyoming. Like he was a good linebacker coming out. He didn't stay healthy either his first year, but yeah, like you said, Mike, he's got the green dot and he should be out there every play.
Yeah,
just
even
hopefully more snaps than what Josh Bynes had last year, which is like hovering around like 72% for 16 games. I think it'll be a little bit higher than that for Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson last year, he didn't really play that much. His snap percentage was low, but you could still see signs of playmaking while he was on the field. But what I was surprised was Akeem Davis Gaither. I think he ended up playing more snaps than Logan Wilson last year. Mm-hmm. But he kind of seems to just have gotten lost in the fold. You know,
another guy that I kind of like over there is Marcus Bailey. Who got drafted in like the seventh. Yeah, he got drafted in the 7th last year, and he was like a good player, but he's another guy like who's never really been healthy.
Yeah, ACL guy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sean. Yes, Sean.
Yeah, anybody who watched last week's episode, I hope you didn't go on a cocaine bender after that because that was. I think we all got a schooling on cocaine last week, which is pretty unbelievable.
It got away from us quickly. Yes,
we went down quite the wormhole last week.
Yeah, I should blame you guys for my drug problems.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, Cincy's linebackers are an absolute mess. But it's very good to hear Logan Wilson with the green dot. I'm actually very happy to hear that. Yes, Paul Rudd.
Yeah, that excites me a lot, especially with the piece.
Go ahead, Zach,
the piece I just wrote, it helps. It's okay. It's made me feel a lot better knowing that he's been bestowed that. I had a feeling that was going to be the result, especially from all the research I did and looking up everything I read into. They really seem to be entrusting of him with taking that position. That's one thing with Logan Wilson is he's kind of he's had that vote of confidence from almost every coach he's played for, and he keeps proving himself, and now he's doing it on the professional level, and that's always great to see.
Yeah, especially since when you have a veteran like Von Bell that is buying in, because he was the one that called the plays last year. That just shows no ego. He's like, yeah, this dude's ready. I'm cool with it. And you're buying in because Bell was your main play caller, last year. But as far as some of the other ones, I mean, I think Jordan Fuller's probably going to get it with the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Derwin with the Chargers.
Well, I don't know. I don't know yet. I think Drew Tranquil's been getting it. I think Murray I don't see Murray getting it. So I do think it'll probably be between Tranquil and James. I think Murray is basically just going to be like see ball, get ball. He's just going to be, I think he's just going to kind of be unleashed everywhere. You'll probably see him on like pass rush, blitzing the quarterback and just kind of running downhill. But yeah, the Chargers situation, the Chargers, I think it'll come down to Drew and Derwin.
Great article, by the way, Z-Mags, on Wilson.
Oh, thank you. What do you think about the Packers, Mike? Yeah. I saw an interesting on a face and I see they seem pretty high on Campbell and up there in Green Bay. But what do you think it's going to be, Chris Barnes or Campbell?
I think it's going to be Chris Barnes. I think they're going to – I don't think – it's funny. Hollywood and we got on a big tangent about green dots on the Nation pod. It could be just one of those things where Barnes knows the playbook and he's smart and can put everybody where they need to be and is a good communicator. Campbell may not have those communication attributes or some of those attributes that are necessary to maybe call the plays. So for me, I think it's probably going to be Barnes. Gotcha. And Campbell's had a good camp. He's a good player. He's good in coverage. He's probably going to be one of those guys again that if I'm reading things properly, they'll probably go to 2 linebackers now that they've got 2 decent linebackers that can play. Campbell will probably be that guy that'll be lined up to cover tight ends or maybe chase down the running backs out of the flat. So that's kind of how I envision his role. But yeah, I think Barnes is probably going to be the guy at the outset. Obviously, if you don't play well and you're not doing your job, that could change at any time. But that's kind of how I foresee things. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mags? Anybody?
Not everybody at once.
I'm honestly hoping for Adrian Amos. I want to see Adrian Amos play a lot more box. I think me and Macri hit on this on the big nickel last week. Adrian Amos, every time he plays the box, he's just phenomenal. He's like, what was he? He was graded like the second best coverage safety. He
was our highest graded coverage safety and highest safety overall when playing in the box. So it was interesting. And Green Bay, they played a ton of dime last year, more than any team in the league. So it was only one linebacker out there, but it's a new defensive coordinator, so they can very well switch that. The only thing is that new defensive coordinator too is Joe Barry coming over from the Rams, and the Rams played their fair share of dime as well. But it's not like they got 3 great safeties. They were using Raven Green, who's not on the team anymore, as the third safety, and now I think it's like Vernon Scott or Will Redmond or somebody like that. So I mean, it makes sense to have potentially 2 linebackers out there a little bit more this year for sure.
Yeah, and if Campbell can cover, I actually haven't really watched too much of Campbell, to be honest with you, but if he can cover, that would actually help it quite a bit. Barnes is kind of your guy, kind of like in LA with Murray. It's like he's just send him at the ball. He's just a tackle machine. He's everywhere he's fantastic in run defense, and it blows my mind. I think we actually hit on that too. He played 18 snaps and had 7 tackles or something.
Yeah. He was like the most efficient tackler last year from the linebacker position. It was crazy, and a lot of it had to do with that one game where he played. It was his first game of the year too. It was like 15 snaps, 7 tackles. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. You're not going to maintain a 45% tackle rate.
No.
But this was the people that were rushing to the waiver wire to pick him up after that week. Like, look at the snap count. The guy played 15 snaps.
Right. Yeah, that is the definition of unsustainable.
Oh my gosh. Imagine though. My gosh, that's like a 200 plus tackle season. Get it.
Yeah.
So before we get to more of Mike's green dots, quick hit here. This big nickel, this 4-2-5 3 safety set that we see. The Chargers kind of went with that a couple of years ago, and that thing has caught on like wildfire. I know Tennessee did it last year with Vaccaro, Byard, and Hooker. You're seeing more and more of that. Do you guys think this is going to continue and get bigger league-wide, or is this just a phase that you think it's going to be here one day and gone the next? Where are you at with this?
I tend to think
this is a thing that's going to start taking over the league.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Like, I mean, it's a passing league, right? No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, the league is so dependent on offense and passing the ball that you have to be quicker, you have to be faster, smaller on defense. So it makes sense that these guys are going to be out there with 3 safeties, smaller DBs, or even converting DBs to linebacker too. Like we've seen that a little bit already this year with what are they called? The Jets bringing in, Hamza Nasir-Al-Din and Sherwood, changing them to linebacker. So trying to get smaller at those positions, and then I mean, maybe it means they get bigger up front too, get some more bigger defensive tackles, the guys that can 2-gap and try to stop the run with less players in the box, but a little bit lighter in the secondary.
I think John. Sorry.
Go.
I was just going to say, John and I, we talked about this a little bit on the breakout pod that I came on with you. It definitely seems like the NFL offenses are going to this direction, to where we're seeing a lot of different looks with wide receivers and tight ends, and the best way for defenses to counteract that is the dime defense. And I think that's why we're seeing more so 2 linebackers on the field and 3 safeties playing deep, or 1 safety in the box and 2 playing deep. I think that's a look we're going to start seeing more often.
And I kind of see it more of a trend of, in the past, the old days, free safety, strong safety. Now you're getting into an era where there's no designation. You're safety. You can play both.
Right.
Half the time, it isn't even just safety. You're a defensive back, man. You're moving through
a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
You're playing up front.
Yeah,
you're playing up front, or you're playing on the left, you're playing on the right, you're now playing in the slot. Really the only thing is, I guess, free safety is still, that still has remained the same. They're playing kind of that deep, that single high, that deep roll, and they're kind of like, all right, I'm here in case anything breaks down. But I guess my question also is it the offenses, or maybe is it the linebackers themselves? Like, maybe we don't have the linebacker personnel. And what will be interesting is, all right, now we're playing these 1 safety, they're playing these 3 or 4 safeties, and we're doing this. Offenses now are going to adapt to that. Do we go back to 3 linebackers, and I don't see a definitely like going back to that typical 4-3 Will, Mike, Sam, but will we see more 3 linebackers? Because I think, again, not the homer in me, but Cleveland is going to be a very interesting situation, because now they do have some linebackers that can play. Are they going to play 3? Are they going to go 2? I don't think they're going to go 1, but I do think. And then you got the running quarterbacks. Now you got Lamar Jackson, you've got Josh Allen, you've got Kyler Murray, you got these guys now that can run. So now that you're going to see these more speed packages where, all right, we've got now the personnel that can track. We don't necessarily need a spy, but if Lamar breaks out, we've got guys that can kind of keep up with him now.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Is like they're making all this adaptation to pass heavy offenses, but once it gets to that and defenses start getting smaller and faster, I think teams are going to start pounding the ball again a little more. I mean, you saw the 49ers do it to the Packers in the playoffs in 2019. They just ran the ball down their throat, and it was like, if you can't stop us, we're just going to keep doing it. So now you have guys, like you said, Lamar Jackson, you have Trey Lance coming in, you have Kyler Murray, you have Josh Allen, you have all these guys that can run RPOs. So now you're going to need those athletic linebackers, but you're going to have to be able to stop the run. So you can't keep bringing in linebackers who are 6'3", 220 and expect them to stop guys like Derrick Henry all the time. So I think it's going to – you can't constantly say that it's going to be a trend for good. I think it's going to be a trend that goes in a direction until teams adapt, and then it's just going to keep changing back and forth. So
that's kind of what the NFL is, right?
Right,
it's just
exactly.
Teams chasing each other in a circle, basically. Once one adapts to one thing, it's.
I think Mike and Joey both hit it. I think you're seeing such a help me at the linebacker position. You're not seeing as many great stars overall as the league depth wise. So teams, you're seeing it more on the back end with safeties and corners. So they're saying, okay, if our safeties and corners are better than what we're putting out there with linebackers, let's go to this big nickel, this 4-2-5. Now, to Joey's point, when you're running those 2 linebackers out there because you want to be fast and speedy all over the field, what do you do when you play a team like Tennessee? Because Henry's going to run it right down your throat. If he gets through that first level, those linebackers and secondary has no chance with him.
He throws them around.
Yeah, you got to be ready for 25 carries.
And I think that's kind of I think that's kind of the problem that defenses, coordinators, what do we do here? Because there's teams that like to run the ball. Cleveland, even though they do good passing, they got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Same kind of deal. You let them hit the second level, they're going to run all over you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a lot of offense moving forward, honestly, because if you watch what that run game has done for Baker Mayfield's game, like it's brought a whole new level of confidence and comfort for him that he played some of his best football last year.
Yeah.
And it was good to see. So,
you think back to the old days, it was, as they used to say, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, ground and pound. Now we're transitioning to this offensive heavy, pass and attack, sling it all over the yard, but it still holds true. If you can run the football,
right,
you can put people in a world of pain. Defense still wins championships, and running the ball still wins. I mean, it still holds true.
There was a stat, Nick Chubb's fourth quarter yards per carry was over 10 yards in the fourth quarter.
Insane.
That's insane. Well, he deserves the extension he got.
Yeah, and that's that's a little bit on Kareem Hunt. He keeps him fresh, and he's just such a good runner. But 10 yards, 10 yards a carry in the fourth quarter.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that offensive line is so good too.
Sean, God, one of our great listeners, he says we need the 4-4 to stop Henry.
But then Tannehill's going to beat you over the top.
Exactly, especially with AJ Brown and now Julio. I mean, that's kind of what teams are gearing for. I mean, that's rough. Sean always checks in with us every week. Another good friend of ours, Nate Markham. Anyone hear news on KJ Wright visiting the Raiders? I saw that he was visiting, but I've not heard anything since then. I don't know.
No.
He left without a contract.
And everything that I'm reading is that Morrow and Littleton are the guys.
They've been used. Kwiatkowski took a step back.
Yeah, Morrow and Littleton have pretty much, they're starting to kind of separate, and they're the two guys in the nickel, and Morrow and Littleton are looking like the guys.
Mike, how I know me and Dan, it's well noted that me and him, we're just not big, huge Littleton fans. Are you on that train?
I'm buying low. Yeah, I'm taking the discount. If he's, I'm not taking him as my first linebacker, but I mean, if he's sitting there as my third or fourth, heck yeah, I'm taking him, and I'm hoping for that nice bounce back.
Now, I can get on board with that as an LB3 or an LB4. I can get on that. But if
I've got it ranked within my top 25. I ranked him within my top 25 too.
See, I would too, because he's literally had one down year. And if you watch him at the end of the season, his last 4 games were fantastic. He got the starting role back, and he played very well.
Yep.
Granted, he didn't really hit the stat box too much, just in tackles. He didn't really do anything playmaking-wise, but he has shown in his career he's a playmaker.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if now he's comfortable in this defense, and he seems like he's more comfortable in the defense, and maybe he can take more of a leadership role, because that entire defense is it's pretty young, but it's also kind of awry. I mean, they don't really have a leader.
Yeah, I'm buying into the bounce back, and I'm not stupid enough to take him ahead of someone like Fred Warner or as an LB1 or an LB2, but give me the discount on him all day. And
that's the thing. Like, he's falling because of last year, right?
Yep.
Like, everybody's down on him, so he's falling. If he's getting that starting job 100%, like he doesn't have to be what he was with the Rams, but he can definitely be useful if he's playing every down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So has anybody else heard any other camp battles? Anything? What about the Rams? Has anybody heard anything on the Rams? I've heard some big love for Traven Howard.
Yes.
Do you guys? Jordan Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys follow her. She does a really good job of just basically outlining play by play. I think it's basically everybody's in the air. Everybody is getting a chance. I know it seems like she really is. Kenny Young has gotten her attention.
Really?
So I don't know that outside of Ernest Jones, he's the only guy I might just take because of the upside. That might be a group I just kind of stay away from.
The problem is whoever plays, if somebody gets like high snap share in that system, always produces. That's the problem. It's like you just got to figure out who it's going to be. And then you know what? It could be one of those seasons where it's somebody different every week. Like somebody plays poorly this week, then they're going to start somebody this next week. And if he plays poorly, they're going to try somebody else. Just see who gives them the best chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like Traven Howard, right? I think we talked about him, Joey, as kind of like a sleeper, just because like he's another one of those guys, like a former safety in college at TCU, has some coverage chops, and he's right now I think he's playing with the second team with Ernest Jones and Kenny Young and what's his face. Micah Kaiser are playing with the first team right now, right? But I think Traven Howard has a good shot to potentially take the starting job with the Rams along with Ernest Jones, depending on what kind of defense they run. But I think they need somebody that can play coverage, and we know it's not Kenny Young. We know it's not
no, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be Kenny Young. He's taken some. He's probably one of those guys just making the most of his opportunity. But but I think the situation, I think maybe on a whole, it's you don't it's like everything else, like if there's a running back situation you don't like, you don't have to take stay away from it. And I think the Rams, even last year, I kind of stayed away from. I think the Lions is one I'm staying away from, maybe with the exception of Derek Barnes.
You think Jamie Collins takes a little bit of a step back?
I don't care about it's like Jamie Collins. To me, Jamie Collins is like when Wayne and Garth were like being transferred. They had the green screen and they're like, "Hey, we're in Delaware." Hey, we're in Delaware. That's kind of what Jamie. A few of these guys are kind of like Delaware to me, and that's kind of how Jamie Collins is. He's just like, all right, he's Delaware.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you have a lot of Wayne's World references, and you saw the reference I had in our group chat with the. What's his name? The guy from Wayne's World 2, Del Preston. He does the whole speech about Ozzy Osbourne. And, but it's a whole different story with the shop owner. I had to beat him to death with his own shoes. And they're all just like,
what did I say that's
you said that? You want only blue M&Ms. And if
for me to come on the show, yes, I need blue M&Ms.
I need request for joining us tonight.
You have to refer to me as Mr. Woellert, only blue M&Ms, and you need to remove the yellow Reese's Pieces.
All of those demands were met, by the way.
They were, yep, and they're in the mail to your house. It's just going to take a little time. It might have got mistaken for arsenic, but I don't know.
So speaking, we got a comment seeing sorry, wrong one. Derwin James, Yummy Camp videos. With some of the injuries he's had the last few years, are y'all of course John is down there.
I'm buying him. I love Derwin James.
Yeah, I'm not scared of taking him.
Right, everybody kind of gets hurt. It's just been bad luck with him that it happened 2 years in a row. He's still really young in his career, and I mean, the guy's just too good of a football player. Like, he is the most versatile player in the NFL.
People was kind of Keanu Neal being hurt back to back like that. So they're kind of gun shy, so to speak,
Yeah, and Keanu Neal bounced back to a degree. Like, he was pretty good. He
had a solid season last year.
Yeah, and I'm with you on James. I'm snapping him up everywhere.
Oh, I can't wait.
He's nasty. He's that guy that has created the roles that Nasir Ladine is playing now. Like, he's that guy who he can move up. He can play anywhere on that defense, honestly. I could see him play at the line of scrimmage. Granted, he's not going to be an edge rusher by any means, but he can play at the line of scrimmage. He can cover tight ends. He can play linebacker. He could play nickel. He can play – I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the outside. And he can play safety, obviously. But the guy can play all over the formation. Yeah.
Sean asked, are we going to see a rotation between the Ravens linebackers, LJ Fort, and Malik Harrison next to Queen? Thoughts on that?
I think it's going to have to be Harrison at some point soon. I mean, LJ Fort has played pretty well since he's been in Baltimore, but I don't know. Harrison, I think they have decent capital in Harrison. When did they draft him? What was it, the fourth round?
Fourth sounds right. I'm not exactly sure, but that sounds right.
I mean, as a linebacker,
like Harrison,
I
think he's a good compliment. I think he's a good compliment to Queen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Queen's going to be a guy. I mean, I honestly don't think Queen really was thriving in coverage too much last year in his own right. But I think obviously Harrison, he's okay, but he's that kind of that old school style, just run thumping linebacker.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see LJ Fort start the year again.
Yeah,
getting the most snaps over him, but it might take Harrison a while. I haven't really seen anything positive out of camp from Harrison. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's all about the development with that guy. So
he was a third rounder.
Third rounder?
Third. I thought maybe that was the case, but I wasn't sure. Good job, Z-Max. While we got a minute before questions come in, I know we were talking about green dots. Mike, anybody else that we've not mentioned that that surprised you, or you thought, okay, this is who I thought, or, this is what I expected? Because I find this green dot stuff so intriguing.
You know what? I think everything else is pretty much going, as of right now, is going as I thought. In the East, you're probably looking at Edmonds. You're probably looking at Jerome Baker in Miami. You're probably looking at Mosley with the Jets. I would imagine since Hightower is back, I think Donta Hightower is probably going to get it, playing the majority of the snaps. Washington will be interesting, though, with Bostic and Jamin Davis, because Davis has actually had a pretty good camp. So that'll be interesting to see who emerges from those out of those two.
And we
what about
touched on
Holcomb?
it
Do
the
you
other
think
night.
he has a chance?
Oh, go ahead, Holcomb. Yeah.
What was that, Zach?
Holcomb.
I was just asking if Mike thought Cole Holcomb had a chance at all.
Honestly, I don't think so. I think it's pretty much, in my opinion, I think it's pretty much between either Davis or Bostic. Davis is kind of, he's already emerging as kind of the vocal leader, I guess you can say, which is good. So I don't see Holcomb getting it, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times. But yeah, I think it's probably, that's where I'm leaning. I'd probably lean on Davis or Bostic again.
So my question with that group there is, so say Bostic gets the green dot, so then it's probably going to be mainly him and Davis on the field more, and Holcomb's kind of the odd man out. Say Davis gets it, does Holcomb beat out Bostic for the spot, considering he's the slightly more versatile player?
Yes, I think the dot wear will definitely determine. I think if Davis gets it, I think that opens some doors for Holcomb. I know you guys. We have a lot of. Are you guys Holcomb guys?
I'm a Holcomb fan.
I'm assuming.
I am.
I am a Holcomb
I like
fan.
to watch him.
Yeah.
Pull for the underdog.
Yeah. So, God, I can't believe, what is this? Bostic's like 8th or 9th year. He's been in the league forever, because I remember him with Chicago.
Started with the Bears.
But yeah, I think if Davis gets it, I think that definitely opens some doors potentially for Holcomb to kind of eat into Bostic's playing time.
Bostic really kind of bounced back and had a really damn good year for Washington last year.
He had like a career year last year.
Yeah, I mean, he was on point for them. I know we kind of touched about this the other night, Mike. What about, because it's draft season, Parsons wearing the green dot for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Parsons got it. I noticed it was kind of tough to see in that first series. I noticed he kind of was in the middle of the huddle. I think, John, did you see that? He was kind of, it looked like he was in the middle of the huddle. So to me, I'm like, all right, he's there. Yeah. And then I noticed it pretty clearly when he was on that second series. And then there was, so I think he's going to be the guy. And one thing I noticed was, I think it was one of a third down play. It was Parsons and Neal on the field together as the two. And one of the beat reporters in Dallas said this could be their main package, Neal and Parsons. So that'll be interesting to see how things go with the rest of the preseason. It wasn't anything to hold him to it, but he said this might be the package you see quite often.
Perfect timing, as we are actually talking Cowboys right now. Dynasty Tripp decides to join us, our local Cowboys fan.
Right. Sir. And what's going on, Tripp?
It's going. How you guys doing? I'm sorry to be late.
No worries.
Fine. You're fine. You jumped in just in time. We're talking Micah Parsons, Cowboys. Did y'all see the tweet today about the Hard Knocks where he's talking to coach? He said, "I'm a lion. You're going to learn that lions are always hungry." And then he went out and was in coverage, got the interception. Did you see that little clip today on Twitter?
No.
Who was this, Neal or Parsons? Or Parsons.
He's talking to the coach, and he said, "I'm a lion. You're going to learn that lions are always hungry." And then they flashed. He's covering a receiver, kind of gets behind him, undercuts, gets the interception. So
a Nittany lion.
I mean, I know it's only the Hall of Fame game, but
Well
you
played.
can tell that he's a player.
Right. Yeah. And to bounce off that, they flashed to Dak Prescott, and he said, wow, he's a player. This dude can play. Mm-hmm. I have long been a Micah Parsons fan. I mean, he's legit. He's going to cause them to make some decisions down there, Tripp, with their linebacking core. With LVE and Jalen Smith and them, he's come in and ruffled some feathers and tore up the house right out the gate.
That's all right. That's what they need, man. Somebody to stir the pot.
Exactly.
Do you guys think LVE is a trade candidate this year? Or do you think they play out the year with what they have?
I think if they're contending, like maybe they hold on to him. But if they start to fall like they did last year, because the NFC East is not going to be hard to win if Dak can stay healthy, right? But I mean, it makes sense that they would try to trade him, but he's on a 1. And he's been injury prone too, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I can see it. I mean, it is just a preseason, but was he on the field more than Jalen Smith during the Hall of Fame game? LVE?
I think it was pretty.
I think it was 4-3, wasn't it? I think it was like 4-3 on snaps.
LVE 4 and Jalen 3.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't put too much
into
it.
The
second
NFC
snap.
East.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Sean wants to know who's wearing the dot in Philly.
Oh yeah, that's another ugly one.
That is ugly.
Singleton's been on COVID. I think I want to say Wilson's been getting it, but I know Singleton's been on the COVID list.
TJ Edwards, baby.
Oh yeah.
That'll probably be one to watch. That one I'm not sure of. I might have to do some delving into that one.
I don't mind TJ Edwards' IQ. He's a smart player. He's just so unathletic. He's just slow. He's a smart football player. He's a good football player. He's just.
Yeah. I know. It'll never happen.
Nate, real funny, Nate. And
the thing I've seen is Eric Wilson wearing the dot with Singleton being the second guy, but then again, Singleton hasn't been out there because of COVID during the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, I'm afraid that Edwards is your proverbial 2-down guy.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, I think so too.
So David Fisher asks us, he's like, loves the info. Thank you for listening, by the way. Aside from the top LB dogs, who is one player you must have leaving drafts?
Oh, I think everybody knows mine.
Who is it, Mike?
Willie Gay.
Yeah, Willie Gay's good. I like Willie Gay.
I like that one.
He's damn good.
And
honestly,
I love him next to Mike Bolton. If Bolton can get in there and get that right.
As we already talked about him, I'm actually taking Cole Holcomb. I'm able to grab him as like my LB5. And I love how he finished the season last season. It was like his last 6 games, he averaged a tackle on like every 7 snaps or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. Or his last 4 games. And there's just something like that. And he's got a couple of years with the coaching staff. Ron Rivera seems to like him. And I know Ron Rivera likes John Bostic too, but Bostic's 31 and he has much less athleticism than Holcomb. And Holcomb improved all across the board last season. So Holcomb's a guy I'm kind of actually grabbing nice and late and praying for some nice LB3, LB2 production.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah. For me, it's
mine's probably about go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just going to say, for me, like a really easy one for me in every single draft I've had is safety Adrian Amos. We just talked about him a little bit, but I've just been getting him everywhere. Every single league I'm in, I just keep getting Adrian Amos. I think he's going to play more in the box like he did towards the end of last year. And I think he's such a good player that, he's going to be out there every single play and put up production. So I'm happy to take Adrian Amos.
No, Singleton was activated from COVID today. So we will see what happens going forward.
Wow.
What about you, Zach? Who are you taking in every draft?
One guy I'm trying to grab quite a bit of is Brian Burns. I think he's especially if he has that DL eligibility, he's a guy I'm trying to get. I think he's young and he's on a ascending Panthers defense that's probably going to be I don't know if they're going to be great this year, but they're probably going to be a little better than last year. And he's just, he's got so much going for him. Just all the talent and the fact that he can kind of get moved from side to side on that defensive line helps too.
Tripp, what about you, man?
The guy that I can't leave drafts without, and this is a true position special, but I get Tyus Bowser basically for nothing in every draft. And I think he's the guy that's going to lead the edges in Baltimore in snaps. And I think he has a bit of a tackle floor. He's not going to have an enormously high ceiling for sacks. It would be playing some Sam, setting the edge some. But I think he's improved every year, and he's a guy that literally costs nothing that you can pick up as your third or fourth edge if that's what you're looking for.
And it was pretty crazy. If you watch some of the games last year, he actually has dropped back in coverage. And I remember watching being like, is that Bowser in coverage? I had no idea. I was like, that completely blew my mind. And I mean, he did well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
even in true position leagues, Tripp, like he's still going super late, like even undrafted sometimes. That's a good one. I like Bowser.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Justin Houston taking up a whole lot of snaps there.
Nope. No. The only one I'd be worried about is Owe, but I think he still has some time to actually get used to the NFL because he's still pretty raw.
Yeah, and he'll be at the opposite edge playing rushbacker.
Right. What about you, Hollywood?
So I'm glad you mentioned Owe. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Owe. I'm curious because I'm not a big Owe fan. Mike, are you? Tripp, John? I mean, where are you?
I know John is.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his. Like, I do think he got. Like we talked to Joey about this too. I was saying he was one of the unluckiest edge rushers in college football last year because he was winning his reps and he was coming really, really close to getting sacks. He just ended up with 0 on the year. He turned out some pretty good athletic numbers at the combine or at his pro day, whatever it was. But he looked good last year. I think he's a decent run defender, but he's a really good pass rusher in my opinion.
So, see, I'm glad you said that. Doesn't that remind you of somebody else that was drafted the year before that got really close, but just was unlucky and didn't get in the numbers? And Kayvon Chason for Jacksonville?
Yeah.
I mean, is it not the same kind of mold? Because I'm not high on either one of them. I mean,
yeah, and the Jacksonville. I mean, to be like the Jacksonville secondary is god awful, right? Like there's going to be some quick passes. There's not going to be, I don't think, as much time for somebody like Chason to get home. But I think for Baltimore, I mean, they got some pretty decent corners over there in Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, Jimmy Smith too.
Jimmy Smith just got a mean injury though. I think he just got carted off the field yesterday.
Oh shit!
Oh wow!
I don't know exactly what happened, but I heard Jimmy Smith got carted off.
Okay, well that sucks, but either way, there's some good corners there. I think they could buy Owe and all those edge rushers a little bit more time. And Baltimore's they're like a good blitzing team that could kind of scheme up pressure too and open up some things for Owe and Bowser and McPhee, whoever it happens to be. But
McPhee, the ageless wonder.
I was curious. I haven't done a whole lot of digging into in Minnesota yet. I know I've seen a lot on Peyton Turner, Joe Tryon. Anybody heard anything out of Patrick Jones? Anything that he's doing?
No,
because I liked him.
Just that they were saying like he has a chance. Yeah, just because like it's Weatherly, basically his first team right now. I mean, obviously Danielle Hunter, but Wanham is not great. He's fine.
No.
But they were saying like he has a legitimate chance to see starting snaps this year, which I thought was interesting because I mean he's another guy. It's a little bit raw, but if he gets out there, he could be interesting for deeper IDP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tryon's getting some serious gush down there in Tampa Bay. Coaching staff's loving him. Which is
Turner.
Yeah. And you know what? He kind of blew everybody's mind when New Orleans took him in the first round. Everybody's like, why? But if you actually, started watching a little bit more tape of him, and the dude's an absolute beast. Like he's got size. At his size, there's no reason a man should bend like that. It's unbelievable.
He was a guy that was on the Cowboys. I Saints got one there.
Yeah, definitely. Saints did well with that. They either needed to get another edge rusher or they had to draft a corner, and everybody thought they were going corner, and then they drafted an edge. And they were like,
I bet now they wish they drafted a wide receiver, though.
Oh, that's all right. They got, what's his name? K'Wan Baker.
Oh, right.
Undrafted free agent. That's all they need. That's all they need.
Who else they got? They got Callaway and
Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith.
Oh man.
Well, speaking of receivers, I think by the end of camp, with the way everybody's gushing over Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones by the end of training camp is going to be the number one wide receiver off the board in all drafts by the end of the training camp.
I would love to see him be the number
I
three
would too.
in Cleveland. I think
I would too.
I thought he kind of cemented himself in that role last year. Plus, he can return kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to overtake Higgins, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Higgins had a pretty
Higgins.
decent. Okay. See, I thought Higgins had a decent year. Yeah, I liked Higgins last year.
Oh, I did too. But boy, DPJ is going to make it is making things difficult.
He's got. I feel like Donovan Peoples-Jones has so much more upside. His athleticism was off the charts.
Yeah. So here's a question for you guys. I wonder, and Mike specifically, because I don't think we've ever talked about it, but the Odell Beckham Baker connection. Obviously, Baker played better without Odell Beckham, but do you think that is the reason that he played better, or do you think Beckham helps him, or does he play worse with Beckham?
I think he's going to play better with Beckham. Before Beckham got hurt, they were starting to develop some of that chemistry. Mm-hmm. So, and I think Beckham is at a point in his career where it's like, all right, crap, I need to do something here. Mm-hmm. And Baker now he's got the locker room. He's got everybody buying in. He's got the playoff win. He can tell Odell, hey, I'm going to target you, but I'm going to target you. I'm going to try to get you the ball, but I don't want to hear you barking. We're trying to win here. If you want to win, buy in. So I think Beckham is going to have a good year. But I don't think I don't foresee him being a problem.
I think that might have been the problem earlier on when Beckham first got there. It was like you have a young Baker, and then you have this high-profile Odell Beckham, who's kind of a outlandish kind of character kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And I think Baker almost felt like he had to force the ball to Odell Beckham, and it was just bad choices. He was just making bad throws, and I think it did wonders for Baker's confidence for Beckham to just actually leave to get injured. Now he's like, all right, now I can run the
and Beckham saw, hey, you know what? This team can win without me. Yeah. And obviously, I think if he was on the field in KC, they might win. I'm still bitter at that play, but I'm bitter at that helmet to helmet play, and I'm bitter that they couldn't stop Chad Henne on a 13-yard play. But
Sorensen, yes.
I think I think you're going to see. I'm not going to say you're going to see a high-powered offense because I do think the offense is still going to go through Chubb and Hunt, but I don't see any reason why Beckham can't have a 1,000-yard season and be a pretty good third wide receiver. Right. I think his elite days of that number one are gone this year, but I think Beckham saw, okay, this team can win without me. I'm just going to kind of do my thing and know my role.
Yeah, that offense is going to be super efficient this year.
Yeah. When your receiver is higher profile, more of a diva than your quarterback, it generally doesn't work. You need your quarterback to be the leader. You need them to take over. And to piggyback off what Mike said, I think as good as Baker was, he was young, he was raw, still learning. I think you're right, Mike. With Odell being out, it allowed Baker to assume that role, to assert himself, to show everybody, hey, I can do this if you'll get on board with me. And I think you're exactly right. I think we will see a huge difference in this team this year because you got Chubb, you've got Hunt, you got a 1-2 punch that's probably as good as any in the league, maybe the best. You got, like I said, Odell, you got Juice out there. I see big things coming from Cleveland. I think they finally got over that hump. They found the guy at quarterback. They've got some complementary pieces. They can run. They can play defense.
That defense is catered to beat Kansas City. So that secondary is just full of cover guys.
Yep.
Full of cover guys.
So while we got Mike here, I want to – sorry, Joey.
No, go ahead.
Everybody knows.
Sorry, everybody.
Knows. Yeah. I'm on one. So everybody knows that Garrett's the big piece over there, right? He's the star.
Yep.
Olivier Vernon didn't quite live up. Is it JOK? Is it Jadavion? I know me and you talked about this the other night on IDP Nation. Yep. But is it JOK, in your opinion, that's going to be that piece with maybe Jadeveon kicking inside? Is it a combo?
In terms of the defense, are you talking about just the defensive line? Because I don't see JOK playing on the defensive line. If that's what you're asking,
where are you going?
I think you're probably going to just see a straight. In my opinion, you're probably going to just see kind of that straight 4-man front. I don't see them getting cute with anything. I think they know the players that they have. I think they know their strengths, and I think Jadeveon is probably going to be strictly edge, run, stop. He'll probably be sent on some blitzes. He could probably be a matchup nightmare on inside because of what he can do, because of his strength and his speed. But I don't think they're going to get cute with things. I think they're going to pretty much be like, hey, this is what we're going to bring, and this is how we're going to bring it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And word on the street is Clowney's been playing great in camp anyway, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've heard. I've heard he's just been virtually unstoppable.
Yeah, and that's almost twofold, because one, they're playing against really good tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Wills is a good tackle, and Conklin's a really good tackle.
Right.
That's in turn is also going to make the tackles better, because Garrett and Clowney are pushing them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I mean, it's like, as a Browns fan, I'm like, I'm really, really giddy, but it's like, oh my God, it's like we haven't been talked like this in decades.
I know.
And
Well, really, it was in 2 years when everybody thought you guys were like already the AFC champions, and then they won 4 games.
Yeah. They're just a year behind. That's all.
but it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm all in, and everyone's like, oh, it's still Cleveland. Like, no, Cleveland. I think that's buried. I think the Cleveland.
Yeah,
I think the whole
killed
like
that
the Browns
stigma.
are the Browns are I think is done. But who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if they won 9 games, 10 games, and didn't make the playoffs. It's tough to win in the NFL. So
Don't say
it's
that, Mike.
7 teams each side. They'll get to the playoffs with 9 or 10 wins.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely going to be. I'm ready to start the games. I'm reading all these things on Twitter. It's like Clowney would have had 20 sacks if it was a game. I'm like, all right, let's start the games. Let's just start the games. I'm ready to go.
You're like, don't let him get injured.
No pads, backup tackle. Oh yeah, but he was awesome.
Yeah, it's really hard to know. It's like I'm getting hyped for just shorts, but
Now,
we need to
since
start a list of guys who are not impressing in training camp. It'll fit on my phone, and I can tweet it.
So now that we actually had a little bit of football play with a Hall of Fame game, there's one guy who I kind of want to point out that I've been really kind of loving this offseason as a breakout is Alex Highsmith. He got some pretty extensive run in the Hall of Fame game, and he played fantastic.
Mhm.
And he's a guy that I really have pegged to actually. He's going to step into that Bud Dupree role. He's got a high tackle floor. He plays great run defense. And Macri put out this stat that I had no idea of, but he said he had the 5th best edge win rate of any edge defender since 2005, trailing only Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Aldon Smith, and Carl Lawson. Granted, yeah, he only had 2 sacks last season, but that's impressive. That just means he was the most unlucky edge rusher.
He was really good. Yeah.
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 And then you bring the fact that he's rushing the passer with TJ Watt, and you have Stephon Tua on the inside, and then you have Cameron Hayward still clogging up the middle. I mean, that defensive line's fantastic, and I think it's only going to help Highsmith get one-on-one battles. So I think Highsmith's going to have a great year.
Yeah. I when they signed Melvin Ingram, I took Highsmith's snaps down a little bit in our projections. I think I split it 60-40 in favor of Highsmith. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Steelers love to run their guys, like 2 guys out there for a lot of snaps, like 85% of snaps. It's Watt and Dupree or whoever, right? But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Highsmith did play really well. Ingram didn't get a chance to play out there. Watt didn't play either. It was all backups. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Highsmith's a really, really good player, and yeah, if he's starting, he's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So Hollywood, who have you heard? Have you heard anything good about anybody special in Tennessee this year on defense? Anybody jumping out?
Well, I don't. For me, I kind of expected it, but the one name that I keep hearing, local radio, local TV, watching training camp, the one name that I was really high on is Amani Hooker. And from all indications is Tennessee's made the right decision with letting Kenny Vaccaro go because he stepped into this role and just he's just taken off with it. If you're looking for a surprise, it's going to be Brady Breeze, the safety from Oregon. If you've been following some of that stuff, he actually got through out of practice this week. You know, Vrabel sent his ass to the house because he's a rookie, you know, and what do you do when you're a rookie? You're trying to make a name for yourself, right? 2 days in a row, he's been over aggressive. 2 days in a row, he's lit some freaking receivers up, and just waylaid them. And you know, Vrabel's kind of like, I get it. I was there, you know, pretty much I've done the same thing when I was him as a rookie, but we can't do this in practice. You know, you can't beat your own team up. So
he's going to be the reason Julio sits out.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, don't say that.
And then he's going to be cut.
Yeah, luckily he's not practicing against the first team, I wouldn't think, right?
He lit up Des Fitzpatrick was one of them. He lit him up pretty good on a post pass, and it was pretty violent. So, but I think Vrabel likes that. You know, he doesn't want you beating up your own team, but when the season starts, you kind of want that guy back there, right? And I see him following the same pattern that Amani Hooker did. You know, he come in from Iowa, and he's doing whatever it takes, you know, with Vaccaro and Byard. Now it's Byard and Hooker. I could see Brady Breeze being that big nickel, that third safety. He just needs to dial it back a little bit on his own team.
Now, they drafted Elijah Molden, too, a guy I was pretty big on. Do you think they play him more as a slot corner, or do you think he has a chance to fill that third safety role?
I think he could be a little bit of both. I think he may get on the field a little bit quicker than Breeze. Indications are that it's going to be Fulton and Caleb Farley on the outside, so I could see Elijah Molden on the inside. They really like him. I think they did well with their defensive backs in this draft.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're going to mix and match depending on the situation, who they're playing, what's going on. But, yeah, they're young. They're going to make mistakes. You know, they're probably going to make a few boneheaded plays, but if they can develop, the future's bright in that secondary for sure.
Luckily, they have clock management on the other side of the football.
Yeah. They got the king of clock management, the one and only, baby. Come get you some of them.
Oh, my Lord. The predator himself.
Just ask Josh Norman.
Oh, just ask everybody else he's thrown a stiff arm at. My gosh. Derrick Henry's just thrown
Did he
people
get
around
Miles?
his entire
Did he get
career.
Miles Jack?
Oh,
He did
probably.
a couple years
I thought he
ago,
got
right?
Miles Jack.
You know,
Couple years
you can
ago.
ask Sucksonville all about him because he's run like all over those fools.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I ain't got no shame. I'll call him Sucksonville all day long. That's how we roll here.
I think every pod I've been on with you, Hollywood, and you've mentioned Sucksonville.
Sucksonville. That's
Yeah, he
their
references that at least once a night.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That and firing Kyle. That's it.
name. Oh, I wish Kyle was here. I'd fire his ass right now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to
reason.
fire Kyle, and he's not.
He's not even here,
I'm
and he's
not-
getting fired.
Yeah, I'm firing him.
Kyle,
for
we
not
hope
being
you're
here,
watching.
okay?
You're fired.
Yeah, Kyle. You're
All right.
better than this, Kyle.
So I'm a 49ers fan, right? I have decent expectations this year, a little kind of tempered expectations because I'm still worried about that defensive line. Bose is coming back from an ACL. But the word on the street is D Ford is finally starting to get some reps. They brought in Samson Ebukam to kind of be insurance. But do you guys think that if D Ford can actually play, even if it's just like 50%, and he can swap back and forth with Ebukam, Nick Bosa comes back fully healthy, do you think Armstead can have a resurgence back to where he was 2 years ago? And do you think this will help improve Javon Kinlaw and make him a better player on the inside?
I don't
I'm
think he'll
not
be like
sure if
as
he'll
good as
ever
he was
be-
2 years ago, but
Oh, go for it.
yeah, I was just gonna say like it might not
That's
be
basically
as
where I
good
was
as he
going, Josh,
Yeah,
yeah.
'Cause that was a big year.
Mhm.
but I mean, I don't think it could be worse than his years prior to that.
Right.
Last year was a down year, obviously too, and
last year.
Yeah. Yeah, but having Bosa there, I mean, if Javon Kinlaw takes a step forward, that definitely helps. D Ford is interesting. I'd like to see what they do in their pass rush packages, Joey, because you mentioned Armstead maybe kicking inside if D Ford and Bosa are going to play the edge, so that would be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be the smartest idea, honestly. I mean, Armstead is an original defensive tackle. That's where he played his time mostly in college, and if you watch the playoff games in 2019 when they actually made the Super Bowl, you watched, like, you could even see Bosa sliding inside, Armstead sliding inside. They shifted across that line quite a bit. Granted, they also had DeForest Buckner, who could also slide outside and play edge. We haven't seen anything like that from Kinlaw, but I'd like to see some growth out of Kinlaw, and I think having healthy guys on the edge and having a healthy defensive line is the key for Kinlaw to actually become that first rounder they were hoping when they traded pretty much Buckner for him.
Right. So, Joey, something else I saw today on Twitter. You're talking about Kinlaw. You're the big 49er fan here. Did you see the tweet today, or the whatever it was, that he's been studying a lot of Ndamukong Suh because he wants to be that dominant interior pass rusher? Thoughts on that? Because
I have not seen that, but I am very
Suh's
happy
legit.
to hear that.
I mean, I know Suh takes a lot of hit for a lot of stuff for being dirty or whatever, but at the end of the day, you want Suh on your defense.
If there's two defensive tackles that ever made people money, it was Ndamukong Suh and it was Aaron Donald. They made so many edge defenders money just because of their presence on the interior.
Yep.
They're like the LeBron James. They make everybody money, and then when they go to different teams, they don't do anything.
Right. That's why Leonard Floyd's lucky he got an extension with the Rams.
Seriously.
Although Suh has done very well in Tampa Bay.
What's that, Hollywood?
I said, although Suh has done very well in his first year in Tampa Bay, one of his better overall seasons. Of course, you got Tom Brady over there, but he made that defense better, eating up those blocks. Somebody on me. Who was that?
Oh, that was me. Tom Brady. So I am a New England guy. I live in Connecticut, and my brother is a Raiders fan. So ever since the Tuck rule, I've been kind of with my brother on this. Like, I honestly think that the Raiders did get cheated on that. That was the Raiders' year. I think they had a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl that year, and it kind of broke my heart for my brother. So I've been with him for pretty much Tom Brady's entire career, like just disliking Tom Brady. But the more he wins, and every time he wins, it's just like he's just impressive every year. And it's like, God, why? Why do I have to respect this man?
You want to know? You know what? Someone had an interesting graphic, and they showed, Josh. They showed Josh Allen just signed this huge deal,
right?
250 million or something like that.
And Tom Brady has made only $5 million more than in his whole career. And I think it goes to the correlation. Like, I think what they're trying to say is Brady has basically, granted he's married to a supermodel. Maybe he doesn't need the money, but he's not taking, he could easily be, if we're looking at it, he's, a $60 million a year quarterback. Not just because of his stat. Takeout stats. $60 million a year. That would, if he signed a $60 million a year of contract, I don't think any of us would bat an eye.
Oh no,
right?
No.
But it's because, but he's not taking these monster contracts, and it's allowing the other players to come in and play, and that's why he's winning.
And who doesn't want to come play with Tom Brady?
Really, seriously. He's not taking all the money, and that's allowing. I've never seen a team return every single starter from a previous year.
I have never either. I have never freaking seen that.
Especially a team that just won the Super Bowl.
They returned all 22. Right. I'm pretty sure all 22 starters. Insanity. You don't see that. Not even close to seeing that.
Yeah, they brought Lenny back.
We got Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski coming out of retirement to play with him again. That's what we see with Tom Brady is he doesn't take the huge contracts. So they're just like Mike said, they're able to pay these other talented players good money to play with him, and he's winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl. And then you got other like look at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes got that giant contract, and Kansas City is going to be in a crap load of trouble cap-wise in a few years because of all that money Mahomes is making.
And that's the reason they can't sign any receivers.
Right. And the thing with Brady is you talked about Gronkowski coming out of retirement. What did he do? He's like, hey, Antonio Brown, let's bring him in. With
Do you want to play with us, buddy?
All the craziness that was surrounding him, Brady said, hey, we'll take him when nobody else would. And Brown was willing to settle. Brown thought he was worth more than what he got paid. But he's willing to bite the bullet to play with Brady. And I think that's the key. I mean,
I think in Brown's case, too, he was like, well, this is my only shot because nobody else wants me to play with them.
That's true.
But this should be a chance for him to actually get another contract after this.
The Chiefs are going to be – oh, sorry.
No, one quick. I will say this.
Go ahead.
Antonio Brown is a really good buy low steal. You got Mike Evans, you got Godwin, you got Ronald Jones, you got Gronkowski, you got Fournette, you got all these people. I really love Antonio Brown as a buy low because he's going to put up some numbers. Maybe not the superior numbers he did in Pittsburgh, but there's going to be weeks where he's the dog.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are going to be interesting because I think it was last year. Was it last year that Mahomes signed his big contract?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
So he signs this big contract, and then I think even before he signed the contract, they literally had like $17 in their bank account, or like as a salary cap. Their salary cap space, I think, was literally $17, and people were posting, "Oh my God, I have more in my checking account than the Chiefs have more in their salary cap." And then they signed Mahomes, and I think didn't they extend Hill, or didn't they? Then they did some other things. I'm like, how are they signing these people when they have only $17?
It's got to be super backloaded, which is going to screw them in the future.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, what they should do is backload the hell out of it but the problem is everybody wants guaranteed money now.
Right.
Thank you, Kirk Cousins. Freaking Kirk Cousins getting everybody guaranteed money. Who saw that happening? But what did Josh Allen get for guaranteed? He got some
$150 million guaranteed.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Nice.
That's 3 times what Mahomes got, I think.
Yeah.
Guaranteed money wise.
And off of 1 year's work.
Right. I mean, it's true, honestly. I'm sure he's shown progression, but last year was his only year of really being a superstar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have waited for Allen, right? They got a free year to evaluate him again to see if last year wasn't a fluke, right? I mean, I don't think there was any rush. It didn't seem like they were, getting any kind of a discount by signing him to that contract that they just did, right? So why not wait a year? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, they obviously believe in him. He was really good last year. There's no denying.
Yeah,
but it was just such a jump that there's like some skepticism there, I think, to kind of have to look at.
Well,
I wonder,
right?
But I think the problem was if they didn't do it this year, they would have to do it next year when the salary cap does spike, and then he's going to ask for a contract that's even higher than this one they got. So signing him this contract now next year is going to look like a little bit of a discount.
Yeah,
Dak's contract is like a steal.
Yes.
And he is worth absolutely every penny. I don't know where people are. We can't pay Dak. I'm like, yeah, you got to pay. Yeah, you're.
If you paid Zeke, you better pay Dak.
Dak is worth every single penny.
Yeah,
I was the reason I brought that up is because when John mentioned that about Allen, I was in that same spot in that thinking with Dak as a Cowboys fan, and backfired on Dallas. Not that it process wise, you could still argue for it, I reckon, but. It's just so the Bills saw that and they said, let's just go ahead and lock it in because this is only going to get worse. And I mean, in terms of the cap going up and if they have the capacity to sign them now, then heck, you go ahead and do it while the cap is in a weird spot and you set yourself up. At least you know what you have going into next year when the cap jumps like $30 million.
And now I think they can spend that $30 million on other places where they might actually have some. I think Edmonds' contract, his rookie contract is going to be up soon. Yeah. So you're going to have to sign some of these higher caliber players and in hopes that you have the money left over next year to do it.
And what's funny is I hit to harp back on the Browns is like the narrative on Baker is like, oh, they don't believe in him. They don't believe. I'm like, no, they. and Baker, Baker's not worth it. It's any quarterback can do. I'm like, oh my God, did I watch something completely different than what everybody else saw? But no, but it's funny, Allen was like, oh, maybe they should have waited, but Baker's like, no, the Browns don't believe in him. I'm like, yeah, they kind of do. I'm kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping, and I'm not getting my hopes up, but I'm kind of hoping Baker's that guy that'll not take like the $40 or $50 million contract and maybe take the 25 to allow the other guys to sign. That's kind of what I hope, but it wouldn't surprise me if he signed one of those huge contracts.
Yeah.
He hasn't won a Super Bowl. That's the thing about Brady, right? Because we compare that to Rodgers and Brady, right? The reason Rodgers held out and caused that drama is because he's like, I just won the MVP. I proved again I'm the best quarterback. You've got to have me be the highest paid. There was like 5 years ago, he had this thing where he wanted some kind of escalating contract where it would always be the best quarterback plus something.
Yep.
And they couldn't actually make that work legally in the confines of the contract. You compare that to Brady, where he's like, I'm fine being the 20th paid quarterback because I'm winning Super Bowls every year.
Look at my hands.
Exactly. Rodgers is such a drama queen. I can't with him.
But what made that possible is that Brady won 2 Super Bowls before his rookie contract was up. So,
very true.
Anyway, he got at least one. But then he had a couple more by the time he got early in his career. Is the point. Right. Different level of stability and job security, not job security.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Confidence.
Absolutely. So while we got a couple minutes before some more questions roll in, Joey, I know Dan has got the eliminators going. We're finishing up some, but I think he has a couple more that needs a couple of managers to step in and join. So if you're looking for a best ball IDP league or Superflex leagues, he's got a couple leagues going. Great cause for Autism Speaks. Hit him up at Seahawks Dan. Check him out there for those. Joey, we have some IDP Invitational stuff going on. I'll let you talk about all that.
Yeah, so the IDP Invitational, that's all set in stone. We got 120 players in. I don't know what our donations are up to at the moment, but I know last year we got up to $2,000 in donations, and I'm sure we're already past that. But all those invites are out. But we do have, if you missed out on the Invitational, we do have another best ball tournament. It's a IDP DFS style best ball tournament on Fantrax, actually. So Fantrax has teamed up with us to create this, and we're actually helping them out with some of their positional designations on the website and a little bit of ADP. A little bit. They kind of ask us questions, and they've been incredibly receptive. Like within days, they've actually changed some of the people who are eligible for edge positions. So the true position is actually shaping up quite nicely on Fantrax. But so we started this best ball tournament. We're hoping to get close to 500 people to join. It's free to join. It's create a lineup top to bottom, offense, IDP, and it's DFS style. So set your lineup once, make sure you're within the limits of the cap. And Fantrax is putting down $1,000 worth of signed merchandise for the winner, signed NFL merchandise. So if you want to join, go to fantrax.com/IDP guys, and that should bring you straight to the link. If you don't have an Fantrax account, sign up right there, and it should bring you right to it. And I know it's fun because if you don't know IDP, you at least have your DFS values that can kind of tell you somewhat who's ranked where and how you can play, but it allows you to just understand and learn the players without having to do as much research. So if you're new to IDP, try out this DFS best ball style league and try to win yourself $1,000 in signed merch.
And you're telling me it's true position too?
Yeah. So yeah, Fantrax has a great true position, edge position style going. So it's like they had it for a while. It was like you could almost play any linebacker at edge, but we've gone through a giant list and we said these people should be eligible, these should not. These guys are playing 3-4 defensive ends, and these guys are playing 4-3 or 3-4 outside linebackers, and these guys are playing 4-3 defensive ends. Those are your edge. You shouldn't have inside linebackers or middle linebackers playing edge. So they've actually taken quite a few out, added a couple in, added some people to the IDL as opposed to. So it's just been they've been incredibly receptive. So they're trying to make the best IDP experience they can get. So it's been really fun to work with them.
Cool.
So make sure you sign up and let's have some fun. Plus, there's going to be tons of us in it. So, I mean, anybody can beat Hollywood, but any of these other guys who want to join.
Oh, shoot.
Funny,
Joey. Funny.
Well, we just got to make sure you're there to draft. That's the thing.
10 million people out of work, and you want to be a funny guy. I mean,
That's the hardest part.
The hardest part's telling Hollywood he's on the clock. Anybody seen Hollywood? And you're just going around to like 7 different group chats. Tell Hollywood he's on the clock.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The weekends are not so bad, but during the week, man, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
my
I know.
job, the
I
week
hear
just freaking screws me up because I'm by myself at work. So it just freaking whatever.
It sucks you in. That's why, when I first started playing fantasy football, like we had quick drafts. Like we have a league that it's like you have 60 seconds per pick. So it's like you're there for your draft and you get it done. And when I started playing more of these slow drafts, I'm like, man, this is just ridiculous. These drafts take forever. And then I'm sitting there, I'm at work, and somebody tells me I'm on the clock. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, oh wait, I
I got
have
like
to
3
hustle.
hours.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. I can actually, I can slightly think this through and look at it real quick instead of be like, shit, because I have done that before.
So we've got a lull with questions here. Does anybody have something they want to bring up and talk about? You know, a favorite rookie or a favorite camp battle or, you know, a breakout player, anything. I mean,
Zach, let me ask you. I know Chicago's getting a little older on the edge. Do they have any youngsters coming in to maybe relieve these guys in the near future, at least on the roster
question.
now? Or
Good question.
One player I've kind of heard a little bit of it's not like huge hype, but can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Gotcha.
Oh, okay. Just one guy I've heard a little bit about is Trevis Gibson. It's a guy they drafted last year. I don't think he saw much time in 2020, but I noticed he is one guy. They considered him a project kind of edge guy, and he's definitely been kind of putting some people on notice in camp this year.
Awesome.
I know they have Mario Edwards too. I don't know his age off the top of my head, but I know he's one guy they used a little bit last year to fill in.
he's still slightly young.
But I think that
mid-20s.
Trevis is a guy I should kind of keep an eye on.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, because what is it right now? It's Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn right now.
Yeah.
Robert Quinn. He had that one good
Yeah.
resurgence, and then last year it kind of fell on
Yeah.
his face.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I kind of want to pay attention to. Actually,
He
leading
got
into this
paid,
draft.
took the year off.
Yeah, leading into this draft is something I kind of want to pay attention to the Bears. I mean, do they finally have draft picks? I feel like the Bears haven't had draft picks in the past few years. That Khalil Mack deal kind of set them back.
Yeah, we had the first rounder. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we got a first rounder this year, that's how we ended up with Justin Fields.
Listen, I have somebody in my neighborhood right now. It's 10:20.
Is that a gun or fireworks?
Fireworks.
Okay, because I'm hearing a pop. I'm like,
It's literally fireworks like through the woods next door, and my dogs are just like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, I don't know, dude. I don't know why they're still doing it, but it's just been like
All right.
random
Don't
one
kill them.
firework.
They're good.
You want to come join the group, bud? Come here.
Yeah, let's see who we got here. He's like, hell no, I ain't getting on screen. You fugly. I ain't getting. There he is.
what kind of dog is that?
That's a pit mix.
No, yeah, that's what it looked like.
Awesome.
Pit bull and a
That's
hound.
awesome. Nice.
Yeah, we found him at there was a dam that they have all sorts of hiking trails up the street.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody left him there, and he was at the pound for like 8 months. So we were looking for a
Oh,
buddy
my
for our dog. We have another pit bull mix, so we brought them. We did a little meet and greet, and they were like best friends. We're like, we'll take them.
Nice.
So we've had them ever since. I think that was
That's-
4 years
that's so
ago.
Great. So while we're on pets, that's a good thing. I rescued a cat from the pound a few years ago. I don't know where she's at. She's running around here somewhere. She's probably in a windowsill asleep. But we rescued her. We've had her for about 7 years, and I know Z-Mags does a lot of stuff with cats rescues. I just love that. I'm an animal lover. If you hurt an animal, I'll kick your ass over an animal. Yes, Faith Pupper. Yes.
Hey, Faith.
Hey, Faith.
Oh man.
Yeah, I grew up with cats.
I love doing work with it's always nice to you try to make the world a better place for not the fellow humans we share it with, but the animals we cohabit this planet with as well. And I've got 4 cats, 2 rescues. Well, actually 3 rescues. One, my ex-girlfriend, her friend was pretty much gonna get rid of her cat because she didn't want her anymore, and they're gonna take it to the shelter. And I was just like, you know what, I'll take her. And that was basically me trying to impress my girlfriend at the 2.
Awesome. 2 for 1. 2 for 1, buddy.
4 cats,
yes,
1 dog.
Faith. I forgot to shave, Faith. Yeah.
Right.
That's
I
cool.
love
That's
that.
cool.
I mean, you would be surprised how.
Yeah, this is my buddy who always has to be on camera with me.
Nice.
Oh, I love it. I love
Dude,
it.
all right. So you guys are a couple of your cat people, right? So I was showing a house to a client. I'm a real estate agent part-time. And we go into this basement. They have a note that says, "Don't let the black cat out." So I'm like, all right. So I walk inside the house and there's the black cat. So I'm like, cool. Don't let the black cat out. So we show the house. We go into the basement and we're going down towards where the oil tank is. And here comes this black and white Maine Coon, massive fucking cat, just jumps down from the rafters right by my face. And I was like, scared the absolute shit out of me because there's like a 25-pound cat jumping right at my head that I had no idea was in that house. Freaked me out so bad. I was like, sure looked good in front of the client, by the way. I thought I shit my pants in front of a client. And I was like, all right, cool. You want to buy it? All right, I got to go.
Yeah, I had a black cat, and he had like the biggest green eyes, and boy, did he made you work for the affection. But once you got in, that was it all over.
Yeah.
My buddy had this cat called Cashmere, another big gray cat. He was a dick. So he would sit there, he would come up to you, ask for your attention. He would purr and he'd rub up on you. So you start petting him. He'd get up onto your lap and you'd start petting him. And then he'd just attack the shit out of you. You're like, dude, why? Why would you do this?
Yep.
But
did they buy the house? Faith has to know.
Actually, we are in the midst of the contract right now. So yes, they did. We just have the inspections going on. So
Awesome.
the cat did not deter.
The cat did not deter.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
I've actually got 2 black cats. 2 all black cats.
So no bad luck for you.
And
Hopefully not. I've
isn't.
ran out of all my bad luck.
And I will say there's nothing spookier. You could have these cats, but there's nothing spookier than coming around the corner and when that light hit and you see the 2 glowing eyes, I'm like, all right, is this thing about to like rip my throat out? I know we live with each other, but is this thing gonna come in and just rip my throat out? I don't know.
Cats are incredibly freaking strange. So you can be sitting in another room and you can just glance like all the way across your house and there'll be a cat just sitting there on a table like this. Just staring at you from across the house, and you're like
staring at you.
Things plotting my demise.
Like, what did I do? Well, are you literally trying to kill me? Are you staring at a bug? What the fuck's going on?
No, cats are definitely crazy, and what's really freaky is when you're dead asleep and you wake up, and they're right here, and they're looking at you. I'm like, hey,
hey, buddy.
It happens.
Purring.
Yeah, just purring away.
Yeah. Gotta love animals, though. I do. That's two of my pet peeves. Don't be mean to an animal.
Mhm.
Don't be mean to a kid, because I will beat your ass over either one. So
Agreed. So I'm gonna hop back on an IDP train real quick. I want each one of you to give me your IDP sleeper and your IDP breakout. And it could be the same, but I know I'm going to put you all on the spot right now. Z-Max, I'm going to start with you because you write breakout articles. So give me your favorite.
Gosh, my favorite breakout this year is probably Carl Lawson. I really love the position he's in New York, and a lot of he graded out really well last year. Didn't see a lot of time, but New York has given him, I think he's the highest paid defensive player in New York, if not the highest paid player for the Jets. But yeah, he's probably my breakout. And for sleeper, it's actually a guy that had my article came out for today, is probably Kevon Wallace. I really like his chances in Philly. I think we're going to see Philly kind of deploy a little bit different looks for the safeties this year. But we'll see. It's just Kevon Wallace is just a guy that he looked good in Clemson. We didn't see a lot of him last year, but he's got them and until to be moved around. He has a chance to see some playing time and put up some IDP value for for the fantasy managers that have him.
I like it. I can get behind it. Macri, how about you, bud?
All right, so breakout, man, there's so many. The obvious one feels like Isaiah Simmons, but I'm going to go Vita Vea.
Ooh, I love it.
Tackle, yeah, for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Vea was on small sample size last year, be it because he only played, I think, 288 snaps, but finished with a 90.3 overall grade. He was dominant last year as a pass rusher, as a run defender. Overall, he did everything. So this was I have his numbers here because I talk about him a lot. Pass rush win rate of 20.9% last year. He was winning 20.9% of his reps last year as a pass rusher. A 12.4 pressure rate, and then I mentioned the 90.3 pass rush grade, 77.3 run defense, 90.1 overall. The guy took a huge leap last year on small sample size. I think if he plays a full year in those DT required leagues, I think Vita Vea is going to be a monster.
Yep. You want to talk about a guy who's athletic for his size. Oh, my Lord. My Lord.
And how scary is that? We just talked about how good Tampa Bay's defense was. They're returning all 22 starters, and they're getting Vita Vea back, who missed a big chunk of the season.
Yeah,
it truly is a rich gets richer situation. I love Vita Vea.
Yeah.
And what about sleeper for you, John?
Sleeper is actually because we covered sleepers on our pod, so probably not a surprise. But I'm going with Kevin Pierre Lewis of the Houston Texans.
You had some crazy numbers on Pierre Lewis. It kind of blew
my mind.
Yeah.
So he was another guy. For me, it's just about the competition around him in the Texans. So Zach Cunningham is locked into a starting role, no doubt about it. But after that, it's like Christian Kirksey, Neville Hewitt. And I think it's Kevin Pierre Lewis. I think he's got the coverage chops to play like that deep hole position in Lovie Smith's Tampa 2 defense. They need somebody that has range and speed and athleticism to kind of have to be a good coverage linebacker for them. And he's kind of been that. He actually graded at his last 2 seasons inside the top 6 linebackers in coverage grade for us. He wasn't playing a full-time role, but he's playing bigger roles than he ever has in his career in Chicago and where the hell did he play? Kansas City?
Washington.
Washington, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Washington. Chicago and Washington the last 2 years. And yeah, he's earning a little bit more of a role, and I think he could kind of be that guy in Houston.
Tripp, how about you, man? Because why not? Because it's Houston.
What do they got to lose?
Well, we haven't talked too much safeties tonight. I tell you what, I really like to talk safeties, but I also will say that one reason I'm not a lawyer is because I'm not good at thinking on my feet quickly. So I will do my best to take a stab at a couple of these things here. I can't decide on a breakout player between Brandon Jones and Kyle Duggar. I think both of those guys a bit deep on the breakout side. I think they have some risk associated with them. I don't know that either will take over a full-time role, but I like both's ability to do so. I think that both could be impactful for IDP. They're playing the type of a safety role that we want. Brandon Jones is a guy that's going to be attacking from the edge. I think that Eric Rowe is an adequate player, but I think he makes sense as kind of they call him a tight end eraser. Well, fine, let him erase some tight ends and let Brandon Jones play full time next to Javon Hollins, and let Brandon Jones attack the offensive backfield from the edge, and let him attack the flanks or the flats of the offense. And so I'm excited about him. Kyle Duggar, he's out there in a similar type of situation. He has to overtake Adrian Phillips. Adrian Phillips is fine, but we know that he's not a big upside guy. We know that Kyle Duggar has an enormous athletic ability, and he came up from Division II Lenore Ryan, and it's going to take him some time to get his feet under him, especially with no preseason last year. And I think that he kind of gradually got better, gradually took on more responsibilities, has ways to go in coverage, but I think that he, with his athleticism, he should be able to grow into the role, should be able to play the rat position that the Patriots are looking for, and should be able to attack the defensive backfield a little bit like Jamal Adams. I know that's a little dicey of a hot take there, but I like, I think that he's an interesting player. That and I don't know that they'll use him like Jamal Adams, but I think that he has some of the same ability, quite honestly, that if he was to develop. And so I like that. On the sleeper side, I'll give a guy that I was talking with Macri about was Ronnie Harrison. Nobody's talking about Harrison. Everybody's talking Delpit. Everybody's talking about John Johnson, and rightfully so. John Johnson will surely be a full-time guy. But I think that Ronnie Harrison, this guy, most likely to start. And I think John Johnson makes more sense playing deep next to him if they're going to try a little single high, which they don't do a ton of. They'll play more two high. But Ronnie Harrison is a guy that makes sense to step down into a box when they do go 3 safety sets. And I thought that he looked a lot better last year. I thought he played more instinctive. I thought that he attacked the football very well last year. And he's always been a guy that's had a nose for the ball and run defense. And so he's a guy that I would look at as a sleeper.
Nice. I like it.
I like the call. Like if you're playing on RSO, Reality Sports Online, what's this way? Kyle Duggar and Brandon Jones both listed as cornerbacks on there, so a bit of a cheat code for it.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, with Kyle Duggar was able to see the field as a rookie on a Bill Belichick team, so that kind of says a little bit about him. And granted, the team isn't as stacked as it has been in the past, but the fact that he was able to see some run in the field is kind of saying something about him.
Yeah. So what do y'all think about my hot take? You think he has?
That's exactly what I was going to say, Joey.
Yeah, well, like he is the same type of player. I don't know if he's got the same ability as Jamal Adams, but I can definitely see him. He's that same type of player. Like you can send him in on a blitz any day of the week. Yeah, he's definitely has that. He's got power. He's got strength, and he's got that just elite athleticism. But like you said, he needs to shore up some coverage. But he's young. He's very young. Mike, how about you, bud?
Yeah. Tripp, love the Duggar call. Mentioned Duggar in 4-4. I actually have Duggar. I'm definitely higher on the consensus when it comes to rankings. I got Duggar as my DB 24. So, he played mostly in the box, and he played quite a bit of the snap. So definitely like the Duggar call. But in terms of my breakout, I mentioned it before. Willie Gay. I think he's well in line for a full-time role. It's been noted by several of the guys covering the Chiefs. When he's on the field, he's the best linebacker on the field. So if Steve Spagnuolo does not keep him on the field, I think I'm going to go down to KC and we're going to have words.
I'll go with you.
And I think in terms of sleeper, I think I'm going to probably go with Justin Sternad. We'll see what Josie Jewell happens. He's been out, and Sternad's been able to come in and get some reps and turn some heads. So I think if you're looking for a deeper sleeper, Justin Sternad from the Broncos.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to push Jewell last year before
I did too.
Before he got injured, before he even played a snap. It was like the first preseason game, or was it even in camp?
Yeah, it was early. He didn't play a snap. Yeah, he hurt himself pretty early.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Ledford says, what do we think about the Jets safeties?
I like Ashton Davis personally.
Mhm.
I love Davis.
I love Ashton Davis. Marcus May is kind of in a bit of a contract conundrum with the team. I'm interested to see how that pans out. I mean, I don't think it's really in his best interest to hold out if he thinks about holding out. But Bradley McDougal, I don't think McDougal honestly is
I think
He's not back on the team, I don't think, is he?
what I was just gonna say from what I read, he's probably gonna miss the whole year actually.
Mhm.
So I think Davis has a pretty good chance to make an impact. Yeah.
Davis and May are your starters, but I think they'll both play a lot of too high, and you'll see a lot. You won't see a lot of dime. You'll see. I don't see either of them coming to the box slot either. So, I mean, neither of those guys are guys that I'm looking for in drafts.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and the fact that they brought in Nasir Ladine and Sherwood and turned them into linebackers, I think they've kind of got their athletic box style players there.
Yep.
So I get that. Yeah, that's a good call. But there is an interesting anecdote. Macri, I think you actually said it when I was on your pod. It was about there was one game Ashton Davis played. It was like 60% on the edge or something like that.
Yeah, he played I think it was 29 snaps or something like that on the defensive line. So he was playing it was in Greg Williams' defense, so a big difference from Robert Salas, right? But I thought that was interesting just because when I think of guys that do that, I think of Derwin James and Malcolm Jenkins who are play right on the line and can put up numbers. But it was just the one game he got hurt shortly after too, and Greg Williams is gone. We'll see what happens with him if he ever gets a job again. But
Greg, good.
Traditionally, with Robert Saleh, I mean, you look at his safeties. I mean, sure, back in the Legion of Boom days, what was he? Was he the linebackers coach back then? I believe. So he didn't really have anything to do with the safety there. But look with the Niners. I mean, he's had Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward, and sure, they're both good, but they don't really put up gaudy IDP numbers. So if you're looking for IDP safeties, it's kind of a defense that you kind of want to shy away from a little bit. I think Davis has the most upside of them all, but I think Tripp's right on that one.
Yeah, they play a lot of quarters. Robert Saleh did at least last year, right? So
Hollywood.
Defensive quality control in Seattle, if you're curious.
Oh, okay.
Linebackers in Jacksonville after that.
Hollywood, who's your sleeper and breakout?
Breakout, I kind of mentioned it earlier. It's a homer pick. It's got to be Amani Hooker taking over a full-time role for Vaccaro. The volume is there. Got Byard playing next to him. You got Simmons and Danico Autry with Jayon Brown back. You've got Rashawn Evans and those guys. I just think the volume is there, and he's proved he can handle that load. That's my breakout. Who was the other? What was the other one? Sleeper. Oh man, so tough. I kind of want to go safeties again. I kind of want to go on Ashton Davis. I kind of want to go with Jalen Hawkins with Atlanta because of their safety situations. That's a couple players that I drafted last year and kind of stashed. Keanu Neal's gone. With the situation in New York with the Jets, I think Ashton Davis has a good role. So I would pick one of those two as my sleepers.
All right. So my breakout, I already talked about earlier in the show, Alex Highsmith. I think he's going to have a great year. I'm a big Highsmith fan. My sleeper, Hollywood, is actually on the Titans, and it's actually Elijah Molden. He's the reason I brought him up. Because if you date back to when Logan Ryan was there,
yep.
What do you have? He had 118 tackles, 4 sacks, 4 interceptions. So that slot position in Tennessee is a very active position. So they're going to blitz with him. He has shown in college he can get at the quarterback. He likes to get behind the line of scrimmage, but he's fantastic in coverage. He may not be the most athletically gifted person, but his IQ is there. So I think he's going to make a lot of plays in the ball. And if you're in cornerback leagues, I think if he wins that starting slot job, I think Bolden's a nice deep sleeper you can go for that gives you big play upside with a pretty solid tackle floor because he is a good tackling corner.
Yep, and there's a good chance he could win that spot because it's going to be Fulton and Caleb Farley on the outside. So
and the worst you're going to spend on him is at the most like a 5th or 6th round rookie pick.
Yeah, at the most. I mean, in a lot of leagues, you can probably pick him up off waivers. So a great flyer. Love that, Joey. Love that.
Hollywood, do you think Janoris Jenkins gets any starting time over there in Tennessee?
I do early on. I think it depends on what Farley's health is. Everything is trending that he's the guy, but I think Janoris Jenkins probably starts the season as a starter. I'm not sure what they feel about Christian Fulton versus Farley. I think that could be the trick. As Joey said, Molden, that's a good candidate for the slot. I don't know that they don't run Molden, Farley, and Jackrabbit out there, all three. Maybe it's just hard to say. I mean, I don't.
It's early.
They play that. Yeah, they play that big nickel. They like that 3 safety set. So, do they switch one of them back maybe in that role? I'm not sure yet. It's Vrabel. He's not giving up nothing. You know, he's like Belichick. He's not telling you nothing. So you kind of got to read between the tea leaves what you're seeing. I know Farley. They're kind of playing it close to the vest with his health. He's been practicing whatever. Right. If I had to say today, I think definitely Jackrabbit starts because he's a veteran. They want that veteran presence out there. Then I think it comes down to not Molden. It comes down to Fulton and Farley on the other outside. If Farley's healthy, I think he probably starts out there. And then maybe the other one with Molden is in the slot. So I think they're happy with all 4 of them, but I do think Jackrabbit is the starter.
Okay. It's nice to have depth.
Yeah, especially a corner.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So we're starting to get to the tail end of the show, but you guys have anything you want to plug that you're doing? Mike, what do you have going on? Do you have anything you're working on right now that you want to let us know about?
Just updating rankings at 4 for 4.
Around the room here
Just updating rankings at 4 for 4. Updating my 3-down article whenever I get some nuggets and things to share. And I know I shared this on IDP Nation, but if you see these magazines,
there's a name we all know.
Awesome.
There's a name
I looked for it in the store today. I couldn't find it.
There's a name that contributed a few IDP articles to these magazines. So
that is so awesome.
Got those going on. Yeah, it's something about seeing your name in print. It's really cool. So
Nice.
definitely was happy to be asked to do that. But yeah, we're updating rankings. 3-down article. I'll be putting together kind of an overvalued, undervalued here shortly, and then once all the preseason wraps up, kind of a whose stock is up and down heading into week 1.
Awesome, nice. Tripp, what do you got going on right now, bud?
Oh man, busy. We're writing over at DynastyFootballFactory.com, and been focusing on how defensive scheme changes based on new defensive coordinators affect IDP production.
That's
and
huge.
the Cowboys and Raiders, and so I've got good response on those. So I was happy about that. I've also started doing a little regular podcasting too. So
Nice.
I got to think on my feet a little more often because I'll be on the Getting Defensive podcast every Thursday night here for a while, and well, indefinitely until I get kicked off for being mad. So for crazy hot takes, but also be on the Big 3 IDP pod coming up here on Tuesday to talk about training camp battles. So looking forward to shooting the breeze with Josh and Adam and Bobby there.
Nice. Yeah, that's always fun. Definitely always fun there.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, what do you got going on?
Well, mostly during their off season, I mainly work on my breakout series. My next piece I'm going to be working on is actually got Menahu, Houston Texans, and is actually gonna. It's funny because you brought up Smith earlier, but Alex Highsmith as well. I kind of wanted to wait and see what I saw from the Hall of Fame game with what Pittsburgh was doing before I definitely included Highsmith. But after watching the game, I'm confident enough to put him in that breakout series. So, other than that, with the season coming in, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be putting out content-wise because last year I did the injury report and I failed miserably with that, with everything that happened with losing my job and all that.
Oh, you didn't fail miserably. You missed only like 2 weeks.
It's going to be kind of interesting. And I still feel that, but yeah, I think it's going to be I'm to kind of out what whatever I'm able to write about this year. So I think we're going to kind of bounce around and probably put out pieces about players who are performing well and where I see them going and stuff like that. We'll see what happens with the in-season content, though. That's going to be a new thing for me.
Nice. What about you, John?
Yeah, so I am vigorously watching Derwin James highlights throughout the offseason. But
please keep your hands above the table.
Yeah, sorry. Other than that, just doing my PFF thing. We got the season starting now, so I'll be writing 2 articles per week from now until the end of the fantasy season. So we're going to do team previews right up until the start of the season. And then once the season gets going, it'll be waiver wire, start sit stuff, updated rankings, projections, all that stuff weekly, and bunch of data collecting, ton of data collecting, NFL, NCAA, all of it.
You
So
are my
it's
favorite
gonna be
data
busy.
guy. I keep saying it. You're my favorite data guy.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good season. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Hollywood, let's get over to you, buddy. What do you got?
Yeah, you know me. I got all kinds of stuff going on, writing all kinds of articles for IDP guys, NFL, Devy, if you're into that, doing all kinds of rankings, the top 700 combined. Also have the top 100 IDP Devy rankings if you're into the campus to Canton or college football only stuff. You find me on Twitter, Facebook. You can find me about anywhere. And, of course, I do IDP Nation with Kyle. And I also do the Devy IDP Grind, which is based on defense for the college side for campus to Canton. That's so check that out. Got a lot of stuff going on. Keeps me busy. And then, of course, we got the IDP Lounge. So fun times. What about you, Joey?
Just keeping an eye on the camp battles for now because I will be updating the projections for the scoring tool coming soon. So at IDP guys, we have the scoring tool where you just input your scoring settings and the rankings adjust to whatever scoring settings you have. So that way, if you're playing in some different sort of league where you have cornerbacks that scored high, it'll adjust accordingly. So whatever scoring you put in, it's based off of projections. So it just adjusts the rankings accordingly. So once I find out who wins all the camp battles, then I'm going to adjust all my projections. And then I think I have 400 plus players on it right now. So once that's done, right before the start of the season, that'll be updated. Just trying to get people into the Fantrax IDP guys best ball. And actually, me and Eric at EJH 1520 IDP, we have a new thing coming to IDP guys pretty soon. Hollywood, I'm actually going to get in touch with you about that pretty soon. We've actually been working on a new scouting tool. So it's almost like a scouting cards. So it's going to have all sorts of traits, updates, and we're going to get you involved in that pretty soon too. But we're still critiquing and perfecting that. So another thing adding to the IDP guys website is some scouting cards. So
it's cool.
Well, when you want to be with the leaders, the top dogs, you got to come to IDP guys, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank each and one of y'all for coming on and joining me and Joey. So humble to have you guys on because y'all are so much better at this stuff than I am. Go follow these. I'm serious. Go follow Tripp. Go follow Mike. Z-Mags. John, I just met you tonight. Everything you've said tonight, I have been on point with you. Love it, dude. Go follow these guys. They're great content creators. Love it.
And some of the smartest IDP minds you'll ever run into. Like this is
Yes.
one of this is like part
That's
of
just the beer
IDP,
talk in Hollywood.
This is part of the IDP Mount Rushmore right here. We got some great guys right here.
Appreciate that.
I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but as a quote from one of my favorite movies.
It's the only date you can get is yourself, right?
Ouch.
Jesus.
Ouch. Yeah.
Sorry.
Tough
Sorry, I had to get
one
one in there before the night ended.
I was trying to be funny here, and you just chopped me off at the freaking knees. Damn. I was going to do a Goonies reference here, and you just freaking it's like a blindside block. I mean, hell. Jeez.
Anyway,
She's what
Actually,
fucked is perfect on you.
I don't even know if I can follow this up right now. I'm just Joey just freaking chopped me right here. I'm just
Joey's fired.
Joey is fired.
He forgot what he was talking about.
Joey's fired. Yes.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself, Hollywood.
I was gonna do,
We have that connection. We have that connection, and I don't know what it is.
No, we don't have that connection. You're done.
Do you want to finish?
Shit like this out of Kyle, but not you.
Well, you just get used to it. It's bad.
Well,
Sometimes
Kyle's
my mouth goes quicker than my brain reacts. So, but again, do you want to finish what you were saying, Hollywood? I didn't mean to completely shut you down on that.
Like I said, I was going to do the Goonies reference. I was going to be like, "Hey, you guys," you kind of blindsided me and fricked it all up, and just
Yeah, sorry about that. Still love you.
Yeah, sure you do. Sure you do.
But I want to say thank you to all you guys for coming on. Great IDP show. I want to have you on again. We'll be doing this through the entire season. So once we start seeing matchups and waivers and stuff, I'd love to get this group back together and just brainstorm, maybe like mid-season or something, to see what's going on. Maybe get some mid-season superlatives or some shit like that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
everyone's
us.
invited back
Definitely.
except Joey.
I knew that. Yeah. Because I'm fired.
Yeah, because you're fired. Yes, and I'm firing Kyle just because he's friends with you.
So he's just firing Kyle because they're worried that they're going to replace me with Kyle, so he's going to fire us both right now.
I long for the days of Dan Cook right now. That's words I thought I would never say.
That's scary.
Yeah, I'm really surprised you say that.
It's scary. But thank you again, guys. Thank you for everybody watching the IDP Lounge. And we'll be back next week at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be talking some of the charity tournaments going on in fantasy football. So be sure you join us, and we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Good night.